I woke up to 20 minutes of new pony content on Thursday when I was expecting 5. It was like waking up and finding the world under 30 centimeters of snow. I'm not sure what this means for the future of the series. I thought we were getting an episode a week. Will we get an episode next week, or are we in for a 4-week wait? I'm not sure. But I still want to review the 4 episodes we unexpectedly have. I've said it before, but I don't like the animation. At all. Most of the voice actors I am perfectly pleased with. The only one I don't like is Izzy. She sounds too energetic and over the top, like Pinkie Pie. Kimiko Glenn gave Izzy this weird, charismatic aura that sounded nothing like Pinkie. The song in this first episode is kind of annoying, to be honest. Whatever song they played in the trailer was a lot better than this one. I look forward to it. Also, I was hoping for a theme song, and we didn't get one. The instrumental score is fine, not particularly noteworthy, but I don't hate it. I think the first episode, A Home to Share, was the weakest of the 4. All the characters were reduced to incompetent and self-absorbed. The story was too familiar and cliché. We're still using the dead Disney dad to give Sunny artificial conflict. There were only a couple of things that I enjoyed about this first episode. It was fun watching zip around and abuse her new flight powers, and I like the idea of unicorns having rainbow magic, but those are both things we get more of in the next episodes. The second episode, Zip's Flight School, was my favorite of the 4. I gotta say, I really like the way Zip is characterized in this series. She's cool but grumpy. She was open to the idea of pony unity in the movie, but she's still aloof and not always friendly. She's definitely made her way up to being my second favorite of the main 5, and she may even become my favorite if Hitch continues to get little screen time like he has so far. I also really like the premise of this episode. Pegasi are still figuring out how to fly. I'm glad the world isn't back to normal like none of the bad stuff ever happened. Hopefully we get to see unicorns struggling with their magic later on. Now, it does kind of seem like racism disappeared overnight in this series, but I'd expect lingering racism to be a problem for the 3D series to tackle, not the 2D series. Also, I don't know why, but I really like this windy Pegasus. What a weird fear to have. Overall, I enjoyed this episode. Tell Your Tale is beginning to show its potential as a show that gives extra time to explore the personal lives of our characters, since we only got to know them for 90 minutes of movie before now. In the third episode, Sisters Take Flight, we see Pegasus flight continue to be a problem. I do feel like too much of that precious screen time was wasted on slapstick humor in this episode. I also still don't really like Pip. She's so self-absorbed and princessy. It's like if you took Rarity and erased her generosity. I do enjoy her dynamic with Zip, though, because they're so different. It's funny, in this parade, I don't know if Pip has an overinflated ego, get it, or if Zip is being antisocial. They're both kind of quirky in how they react to attention, and I like that there's not one who is clearly right. The main 5 are a remarkably diverse set of personalities, maybe more so than the main 6 of G4. The fourth episode, Nightmare Roommate, is interesting. I feel like they ran out of time. The ending is just weird. Technically, these 3 never lied to Izzy. I was just baffled that Izzy wasn't happy about these gifts, considering she was taking the others' stuff. Like, apparently Izzy was all doing this just to copy her roommates, but why is she coming forward with this now? I suppose this episode is really about open communication. Although their repetition of the phrase honesty is the best policy makes it feel like the lesson is about something else. Despite these problems, the characterization in the episode is pretty good. I feel so bad for Izzy. She was so lonely before meeting Sunny. Her voice is far too similar to Pinkie Pie in this episode, but the way the character is written is completely different. Her whole conflict revolves around her previous isolation, compared with Pinkie Pie, who is friends with every pony in Ponyville. This was also the only episode that really gave Hitch a meaningful scene. I hope he gets an episode to himself soon. I'm surprised that they actually had Hitch living apart. This makes sense. He would have had a house in Maritime Bay, so no need to move. I'm surprised that they thought it through that far, and I'm happy about it. His scene in this episode is really legit. Not just because he's a fountain of wisdom that solves the problem the others are facing. I think it's really, really neat that he extends kindness to a prison inmate. He's definitely the Fluttershy of this generation. I like this guy. One overall note, it's kind of odd that they dropped us into this situation with no context. They didn't really explain what the Crystal Bright House is or why every pony is moving to Maritime Bay. They gave no repercussions for the royal lie, and racism seemed to have disappeared overnight. If we had these gaps filled by the special, I would be okay with all of this. But since Tell Your Tale came out first, we are lacking context, and it feels like I skipped something that I should have watched. Overall, I see some pluses and minuses to Tell Your Tale. Most of the voice actors are fine, but I really miss Kimiko Glenn. The art style is awful, and the music is average at best so far. The episodes are so short that it's hard to tell a coherent story or build a meaningful conflict. We were given this series with no context, making me feel like I've missed something. However, the value of this series is that it gives us more time to get to know the characters better in a low-pressure day-to-day life situation. And these characters are definitely in desperate need of more development, especially the Royal Sisters. This series is delivering that. I'm enjoying Zip more and more, and I look forward to hopefully getting a Hitch-centric episode soon. Okay, that's it from me. I'm still trying to decide exactly how I'm going to review this series. Currently, I'm thinking I'll do a really short 1 to 2 minute video on each episode the week that it comes out. But if that's not working for me, I may consolidate several episodes into a single review like I've done here. Either way, I certainly intend to watch this whole series, and I will do my best to review each episode, even if only briefly. That's all for now. Peace out.